Hello, welcome to a random impromptu live, and this is Brian's fault. How you doing, Brian?
Yeah, good mate, good.
This is all yours. This is all yours and Andy's fault for blowing up the chat with the amount of frigging news that's happening at the moment.
There's a lot of things going on at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. In the chat, speaking of chat, we have Robert McNamara says hello. Sandy, Mr. Atom Blue, Snapdragon, Stuart Lonnan, Kelly's in the house. One of our members there saying evening. Philip Holzen, Mark, the Four Puppeteers. What a name that is. Mr. Atom Blue says looks like World Economic Fund agenda is well on the way. There you go. Lady J's in there. Jane Lindsay, Dawn Fox, and Philip Birchall. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Nothing scheduled here, but we just thought we'd talk about all the shit blowing up the chat with. Initially, we must mention I did a short based on what you were saying this morning, what you and Andy were saying this morning, showing the two articles side by side on the Bias Broadcast channel of. Oh, we're launching Storm Shadow missiles and we're cutting funding to the military. What the hell?
It's crazy. We're going to poke the bear, but then we're going to give away our sticks. You know, we're going to give away our best poking sticks.
Let's cover ourselves in honey first.
Yeah. It's a cunning plan, like a random permit. They'll never suspect it.
Honestly, it's absolutely insane. So let's talk about the disarmament first. Starmer the Disarmer. That's my new name. What do you think?
I've got better names for them, but most of them involve swearing, mate.
Yeah, I thought Starmer the Disarmer was quite good. So it's the equipment being scrapped is 2 amphibious assault ships, the HMS Albion and the HMS Bulwark, Type 23 frigate, HMS Northumberland, 2 tankers, Watchkeeper drones, 14 Chinooks, and 17 Puma helicopters. And I will show you. Interesting decision to scrap all these when they're taking money left, right, and center, right? So let's just remove this broken down building so we can see ourselves. There we go. So anyone that doesn't know, here's the drones, the Watchkeeper Mark 1, in service since 2014. So 10 years old, that drone. These are the Pumas, in service since 1971.
They're old
Cost
birds,
per year 106 million. Yeah. I mean, I don't think the ones that are flying were from 1971. I'm sure they've all had new parts. It's like Trigger's broom. It's had 3 new handles and 2 new heads. It's the same broom. The Chinooks, which is... Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say it's a fatigue life that's the problem. They'll only be rated for so many hours on the airframe. You get micro fractures and stuff and fatigue cracks on it. So after so many hours, they've got a service life. They're supposed to take them out of service. But with all the deployments they've had in Afghan and everything else, they've probably pissed through all their service hours really quickly.
Yeah.
But they can also, in time of war and stuff, extend the flying hours and things, I believe. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but that's my understanding of it.
Yeah. It's, I mean, nobody minds if old stuff goes out of service, right? As long as new stuff's replacing it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's been inserted. That's the Albion. I mean, if they're selling this, I think me and you should go halves on one of these.
A good place for a podcast.
It would be, yeah. Coming to you from the bridge of the Northumberland.
Captain Pugwash and Seaman Staines, the preppers extraordinaire.
Yeah, so I mean, they're not replacing them though, right? This is the issue.
They'll blame the Tories. The long lead time for the assault ships.
Is it the black hole again?
It's a lot of shit falling down that black hole. It must be pretty full by now.
I think they've used that excuse double the amount of money.
So again, I stand ready to be corrected, but it wasn't that long ago the Albion and the Bulwark were refurbed, as far as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the only amphibious craft that we've got. They scrapped, well, they sold Ocean. I think it was Brazil they sold that to not that long ago.
Yeah.
And going by the amount of millions that they're spending on these things, it'll be care and maintenance they're in. So they're ready to deploy in so many days, months' notice. But they're basically in care and maintenance.
Yeah.
However, we could keep them in that status. We probably waste more in stationery for the House of Lords than it takes to keep these things afloat and in a serviceable condition until the new ones are built. Right, it's the Harriers all over again. We're going to build 2 aircraft carriers but no fucking aeroplanes. Really?
Do you think we're scrapping them or we're selling them on to somebody else? That's the question.
Going by, they'll probably sell it to the Chinese or the fucking Russians the way Keir Starmer works.
Wouldn't surprise
me.
me. Silverblade says UK underwrote Ukraine's debt. They defaulted, so we're £180 billion in the hole. Starmer's not telling the public about this.
That wouldn't surprise me. Any loans to Ukraine in a current war zone is always going to be a loss leader anyway. You'd have to be willing to pay the piper and write that off. I think that's to be expected.
Yeah, but if same way we underwrote the Ukraine's debt, that means we owe other people, right?
Yeah. You were never getting that money back. What if Russia had taken the whole country anyway? That money's gone.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The Type 23 is an old boat now as well. They were refurbed because they were small magazine capacity. They stretched them to batch 3s and things. So again, they've not got anything to replace it with. The 26s, they've not all been built yet. So I don't really see. I honestly, mate, I don't understand this.
No, defence spending cuts could be made to tackle £22 billion black hole, Healy warns. That was what the Forces News said. And that was in September. So, expected.
So we're screwing the farmers, we're screwing the army and the navy. He must be getting pretty tired by now because that black hole's been rogered pretty rough.
But every time he screws somebody else, we forget about something. Don't forget he screwed the pensioners first.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a meme before. I should have saved it so I could put it on the screen, but it was Starmer on the phone to Zelensky saying, "Can you just launch one of our Storm Shadow missiles so they forget about the budget?"
The mind boggles. The Watchkeeper UAVs that they're talking about. Now, I understand they've had a troubled service life. Here's a thought. Why scrap them? Strap some bombs on them, give them to Ukrainians. Everybody else is deploying UAVs as disposable items and flying them into things or using them as missile platforms. So what, we're going to scrap them? Give them away. Give them a purpose.
Yeah. The landing craft were obsolete as soon as they came into service. Flat top amphibious landers wouldn't get away with beach landings these days. Different type of warfare these days, right? We wouldn't have a Normandy, that's for sure.
No, you wouldn't. But then again, they've been used in numerous humanitarian roles as well. And also, they're multi-mode ships. You can strap shipping containers on them. You could launch helicopters off them. Mm-hmm. You don't have to use them just as the well decks for launching troop transports.
Yeah. Do we have any others coming on? You know, Dave Davik.
Nope.
Dave K or Davik?
Don't know, mate. As far as I'm aware, they're not building any amphibious assault craft.
No. The UK has 25 F-35s, both for RAF and Navy carriers, 4 kept in the USA, 85% maintenance cycle. Carriers were supposed to have 60 each.
That was another scam. The Queen Elizabeth and the other one, they wasted so many millions and billions on the cats and traps debacle. They were originally going to use them for vertical short takeoff and landing. Then they wanted catapults on them because they could have extended range and carry more. And then they went back to the old way. It's a fuck up.
Yeah.
Excuse the language. I'm quite annoyed.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's just putting us in this massive vulnerable position. We're just going to become this defenseless island, right? Sigma Prepper in the house. Hello, Sigma Prepper. Always
Hi,
great
Drew.
to have you here.
Nice to see you, mate.
Drew will be doing his live later this evening as well, so make sure you go and check that out. Ready Prepper One asked how he contacts you. Ready Prepper One, if you go on to Drew's live, he'll tell you all about the Discord server where you can get in touch with him. So let's have a look. So first off, it was Biden unleashing, taking the gloves off, as it were. So I don't know how well these are going to play over the stream, but this was the US missiles being used. They look substantial, don't they?
They look a lot better when they hit something.
Yeah, that's the US missiles being fired by Ukraine into Russian with Biden's approval. So Biden could have triggered World War III before Trump gets in.
I don't know if I agree with that. Sorry, mate, on you go.
Go on, no, go on.
I was going to say, I don't think it's going to trigger World War III. Every decision the West has made since the war started, he's alleged that it was going to start World War III, right? If we supplied helicopters, it will start World War III. If they cut them out the central banking, it'll cause World War III. He's the original boy that cried wolf. There's some pack of wolves outside. They would put Sigma to shame.
But the wolf, yeah, it's wolf back. But the wolf, eventually did turn up. So I mean, you were backing him into a corner, right? He's just changed this nuclear doctrine, right?
Yeah, it's posturing. I mean, right, okay. So let's follow that through to its logical conclusion. He's given arms and munitions to the Iranians, the Houthis, and everybody but the Tooth Fairy, right? So it's okay for him to do it. Now, ultimately, the UK as an arms exporter and America can sell their goods to whoever they like. The fact that he doesn't like it's tough shit, right?
Yeah.
So I don't give a crap. Now, he's threatening nuclear saber. He's going to do this and he's going to do that. Okay, so everybody over here will die. That's a given. So everybody over there. So it's not like he's going to be turning everybody into radioactive sludge and walking away and Russia will be scot-free and there's no problems. He knows as sure as shit that if he does that, we will all die, right? So I cannot accept that this is anything other than torture.
But what about the bunkers you sent me? Was it you that sent it, or Andy
Yeah.
sent it the other day? What's tell people about that? I don't have a screenshot at the moment, but
so he's put into mass production bunkers. It's essentially shipping containers that they'll burn them into the earth and use as bomb shelters. Now, they're never going to be nuclear shelters. There wouldn't be enough earth over the top of them. They've got no filter protection that I could see, unless it's an addition that are going to fit. But mass producing them will be they could even be for troops. They could be shelters for the troops. They could be shelters for population centres. But again, that's because there's more and more missiles hitting Russia. There's more and more things hitting the Russian population. This could be at the behest of his own population, pissed off at things blowing up.
Yeah.
It's certainly worth taking note of. If you've got an adversary that's starting to mass produce bomb shelters, we should know about it.
Yeah. It's but that's what I mean. That feels like a weird way to do posturing. So that feels like more of an actual getting ready for something.
If it was a conventional war, Russia would lose very, very quickly in the opening stages. If it became an attritional war, we don't have factories or infrastructure set up that they've got. They've been mass producing total war for the last year and a half, whereas the West has been thinking about it.
Yeah, well, during World War II, they moved a lot of their production away, like further east, so it couldn't be hit and it couldn't be destroyed while they were like fighting Germany. And they popped up factories even back then in like weeks and months. So what they could do now, I don't know. So it's it's scary. Let's have a look at the Storm Shadow hitting footage, because Russia claims they shot them all down, but Twitter calls them a liar.
They would always say that, though.
This is drone footage from a Ukrainian drone over Russia, and it was supposed to be making sure the storm shadows hit the right targets. So the explosions we're seeing is apparently the storm shadow missiles. It's a 2-minute video. Bear with it. It's obviously a bit pixely, so but you'll see the explosions. One's already hit there before. It's not clear enough to see them coming in, I don't think. That's the only thing. So there's one there.
One.
Yeah. They travel at some speed, these storm shadows, don't they?
I think it's about 600 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But they're only a progression of a slightly stealthier version of the Tomahawk that used basically sighting systems in the sky. It would take star pixies and things, and it used some magic. It was called CareCom, where it would preload maps its pathway. This is just a stealthier upgrade.
Yeah. So that was them
That
was them hitting an ammunition dump outside of Kursk. And I just want to put this last one on because of the audio on it, because you can hear the storm shadows coming in.
Is this somebody going to jump out at the screen, Mike? Is this a?
You are?
Is this what we're going to get? Is somebody going to jump out at the screen and frighten the shit out of us?
I'm hoping the chat can hear the audio.
I can't hear anything, mate.
You can't hear it?
No.
Oh dear.
That's why I thought it was a wind up. I was waiting on somebody's scary face jumping out of the screen.
Oh no, the audio is what I'm listening to. It's epic. I thought you could hear the audio.
Just say boom.
Right. Well, yeah, I'll I'll get that together for another fireside at some point, and I'll put it out, or I'll just put a short on, because none of this crap can be monetized because of YouTube's policies anyway. So we talk about war. There's no money involved. Is it worth preparing for nuclear fallout? Says Paul C.
Thanks for your love.
Yeah, you've wrote yourself off, haven't you?
It's just what I believe, mate. I think geography.
If we completely disarm, you're not in a target zone anymore.
Yeah, CND tried that line in the 80s, and I didn't subscribe to it then, even though I was a kid. Honest, we've got nothing here. Please don't shoot us.
Yeah.
History's replete with pacifists being nailed to a cross, mate. I don't subscribe to that.
Yeah. The UK has factories pumping out arms like 24/7 all over the place.
Yeah, but it's high tech, small volume.
Yeah. These missiles need the USA UK satellites to work. I'm pretty sure US UK personnel will also be there to fire them to some degree. We might as well just fire them from Skegness at this rate.
It's an acknowledged fact that there's been UK and US special forces on the ground since day one. So everybody knows that. However, as far as targeting data goes, where do you think the Houthis are getting all the targeting data to hit ships and things in the Gulf? You think they just get really, really good eyesight?
Well, you fire enough missiles, one's got to hit, right?
Yeah. Where's the satellite pictures coming from? The live targeting data? Where's the uplinks coming from for the comms for them? So again, the narrative for the Russian side is singularly one-sided.
But Iran have satellites, right?
They have now.
Silverblade, those bunkers are fitted for external braces and filter on top. Russia has permafrost and bog, so they can be set above the ground, then reinforced with sand-filled breeze block.
I'd
There you
seen the
go.
braces on the outside. It looked like a sort of porter cabin with triangles on the outside for stiffeners, like he's talking about. That makes sense. So they'll just sort of bear it.
Cool. There we go. Thank you, Robert McNamara, for a $2 tip. Much appreciated. That's the entire revenue for this stream. I agree with Brian. I don't think it will lead to World War III, not a nuclear war. Putin wants power. He won't have it if Russia is dust. Also got to think about China's influence. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, what were you saying about the ICBMs before we came on, Brian?
So the version that they're talking about, so they've evacuated and shut the main European embassies and the US embassy today. They were forewarned about had intelligence, as they put it, about an impending air attack. At the same time, Russia's threatened and has been moving mobile launchers, one of the RB variants, which it can carry a non-nuclear payload. I think it's about 50 tons, right? So, two things: either they've watched the launcher erector vehicles moving and get ready to pop, or what I think is more likely, because it's a ballistic missile, they've probably notified the Americans, yeah, this is a nuclear capable missile, but don't worry, it's got a conventional warhead. Please don't shoot back. I'm more inclined to suspect it's that rather than unknown, no test launches or anything notified, and you've got ballistic missiles coming out of the Russian Federation. That's not really a surprise you want to give anybody.
But I mean, Biden will have forgot that phone call already. I mean, and let's be fair, he's not long for this world, so he doesn't give a shit, right?
Sleepy Joe. He's given them landmines, so it's quite vague that. I don't know if he's given them actual landmines that they need to dig and put in, or if he's given them like more scatterable landmines for the ATACMS and the MLRR systems, so that they can deploy scatterable minefields to break up the Russian advances. I don't know what they're giving them.
Yeah, but like you said, when they launch them ICBMs, it'll be the same trajectory as. So it's just going to be late. Basically, they're going to monitor it. And at what point's the crunch point? It's 20 minutes, right?
I'm not sure, mate. I don't think it'd be that long, to be honest.
Traditional ICBMs are like 20 minutes. If they were going to America, I'm saying
it would be but 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, and we wouldn't see them go over the top because they'd go over the poles, obviously. Where in the UK would be the safest place to bunker down? A deep cave, asks Team Dreams.
Northwest of Scotland on an island, or as far to the kind of west of Wales as you could go.
Yeah. Or just underground somewhere and pray.
Again, I've got to say, I don't think it's likely. I genuinely don't.
No, but you know,
we should be aware that there could be something happens, but I don't think realistically we're.
I'd love to have seen. I'd love to have seen YouTube though, in during World War II and at the start, and the people on the YouTube podcasts back in that era would be going, "Oh yeah, Neville Chamberlain came back. It's all going to be peace. It's all lovely. Nothing's going to happen. He's just saber rattling. That lovely Mr. Hitler. He's obviously a nice guy." So
the thing is, though, it's the risk versus reward thing. His risk versus reward for the threats are very low for them. There's no real risk to them to threaten nuclear conflict, to put people in the back foot, to cause them to delay supplying munitions, and instill a bit of fear and hesitancy in the Western partners. The risk versus reward to actually do it is an entirely different calculation. He knows as sure as shit that if he does that, everybody is going, we're all gone, right? So I've got to hope in the back of my mind that calculation's been made and he understands that.
Yeah. Yeah. RJ Stan says there was reports that Liz Truss was looking at maps and wind directions due to concerns around tactical nukes being used in Ukraine. Apparently, US intelligence thought a 50-50 chance at the time. So there you go. Could the fallout come that far?
Depends on the prevailing winds, mate. Think of when it happened when Chernobyl hit. There was fallout in the UK. It was recorded in the sheep at the time when they were eating the grass. And that was a reactor that just blown its lid. So imagine what some ground bursts would do.
Yeah. Break it up a bit there. I missed the last bit of that.
Yeah, imagine what ground bursts would do in terms of fallout if you're picking up the contamination in sheep eating grass in the UK at the time. Imagine what you would pick up if it went hot, even with a couple of warheads.
Yeah. So bug in is the answer to that one, and a central part of your house for a while.
Think about this, Mike. Sorry, just one last thing. That Liz Truss and reckoned it was 50-50. Ukraine has taken territory in Russia for months now. They've still not pushed them out. And he's the same guy that said if there was an existential threat to the Russian state, he'd be dropping hot rocks on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Still pretty cold there at the moment.
Yeah. Well, like I say, but you can only push him so far as I'm concerned. But Guns, Ghouls, and Gore agrees with you. Threatening nukes is a case of Putin willy wanging. I love that. It's negative outcome exercise if they do. I'm going to scroll quickly down because I'm behind. I am sorry about the videos that didn't have sound. I will have a look at that and see why that wasn't working properly after. Liz Truss is studying GCSE geography. She is as good as an American who thinks Germany is next to Australia.
Isn't it though?
She did a cracking job as Prime Minister. I don't know what you're all talking about.
For 5 minutes.
Yeah. There's 92 people watching the stream. It's only a quick one because we want to do a news update. And this one's not monetized because I just figured I don't want to fight YouTube in it. All we want is your thumbs up and your subscriptions to this and to Scottish Prepper 73's channel. That's all we ask for this news report. Sigma's got a dash. We'll see you over at yours shortly, Sigma. Sorry, go on.
Say, mate, did you mind the thing we were talking about earlier regarding the Finns, the Danes, and the Swedes? They've updated their warnings and leaflets to the population.
Yes, you've done a video on that on your channel, right? Do you want to update let people know briefly what's going on?
So on Monday of this week, the Finns decided to update their civil defence and what to do in the event of war or disaster. And it's about a 20-page document. And it's pretty good, actually, to be fair. And
is it better than our old duck and cover then, yeah?
Can't beat duck and cover, mate. Where would you be without duck and cover? It's quite good. It's quite comprehensive. It's good to go. The Swiss have always been way ahead of everybody with civil defence, even though they took a 20-year hiatus, maybe even 30 years actually. But they've started to mandate to rebuild again and stockpile for 30 days. They've got it down to T. Mm-hmm. The Danes are on board as well. A bit more informative, a bit better detailed than the page and a half that the UK got of keep 72 hours worth, and then they dumbed that down, Mike, didn't they, to keep a few days, I think it was now.
Yeah, it's weird because it wasn't like they dropped it dramatically or anything like that. They just made it more vague.
Yeah, they changed the words.
It's almost like, so if anyone follows it and it's more than 3 days, they get less accountability. That's what I felt like for me. Like, It was like, oh, it's too accurate. If somebody's got 3 days worth and they have a 4-day blackout, we'll be in trouble, So we'll say a few because a few to one is,
The Danes and the Finns and all the rest of the Swiss, theirs has been much better publicised across the board. To the point it's been in schools and all sorts of stuff and workplaces, and whereas here we had a footnote in the Bought Me Breakfast TV And that was largely worthless because apparently rat packs last forever. So Willy Wonka's bloody gobstopper.
Yeah, it was a great news report. We always get great media showing preppers in a good light, right? So that's
Yeah.
expected. But it feels like that when it first kicked off and everyone was preparing, and Poland were preparing with bunkers and stuff like that, and we had our heads in the sand. It feels exactly the same again. It's like it's a new escalation of preparedness spreading across Europe, stopping at the channel.
We can't afford missiles and bombs, mate. We're paying for hotels.
Don't. I watched a video today. It's just
Our spending priorities are all wrong. We can't worry about a budget deficit if there's nobody left, right? We were quite happy to spend the kitchen sink and print money when there was a bullshit pandemic and a dodgy virus vaccine kicking about. But now that there's an actual physical threat in Western Europe again, potentially a hot third world war again, and we're scrapping stuff with no replacements, criminal, absolutely criminal.
it's madness, and it feels like it's just the next. Labour seems to me like they've gone down a path now where they've just got to do something else extreme to make you forget about the next one and stuff like that.
They've
And
got their head in the black hole.
Every time Starmer the Disarmer speaks, he doesn't give any answers.
No.
He just says his buzzwords of progress and rebuild and results. And it's like, no, you're not doing anything. Your results are 4,000 dead pensioners after winter.
Latvia, Estonia, Poland, who are on the front lines, have started to rearm and throw serious coin and cheddar to protect their population, right? And have done since the last 2 years. We've talked about it. You know, we would like to get it to maybe 3%. We'll add a few points of percentage here. All right. They're cutting the budget. They're scrapping equipment with no replacements. How is that looking after the population's defence? The core party government should be looking after your population. It's neglect and negligence on a massive scale.
Yeah. Mr. and Blue says Starmer trying to stop farming in a world war. Countries would probably stop exporting to preserve their own way of life. Prep. I mean, yeah, it's just and so I get it. If his whole regime was become this pacifist island, you know, the Switzerland version of UK, you know, and you know we're just neutral, fine. But then you do all this, and then on the other foot, you go, yeah, launch a Storm Shadow. Use them. What the?
And worse than that, we're giving up independence and resilience as well. So we're adding more interconnector cables to get power from Europe, right? What if their power grid goes down or they've got problems? Do you think they're going to meet contractual obligations and sit in the dark and give you power? Ain't going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. And if people want to look a day or two ago, you'll see that the data cables were cut in Europe, right? So there's 2 cables cut, miles apart, cut, and they've tracked the Chinese ship, whether it was that or not. But the German defence minister came out yesterday and said they suspect sabotage, right? Now, whoever done it's largely irrelevant because you'll never prove it because they all deny it. But what if they do that with the power cables? Do you think, where are we getting the juice from now? We are on an island, and yet we have got no large-scale power programme in production, and we're going for electrification wholesale. But we are going to rely on our Western partners, or Eastern partners as it might be. It's again another stunning example of stupidity.
I feel like the Reds have got in power, and I don't mean Labour.
It's frightening, Mike. It's really, really scary the amount of shit that's juggling in the air at the moment.
Yeah, and again, it's all just obfuscating the next story. Because I mean, the whole free speech thing, that's been dismissed, and he's just happy to lock up people who say stuff on the internet, you know.
We're going to let out a paedophile and a sex offender 2-3 years early. But if you say hurty words on the internet, you're getting 18 months. Really? That's how we're going, is it?
How much?
Right.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, mate, on you go.
I was going to say, how much influence will Trump and Musk have on that? Because they're dead against this, and they've already said that Starmer's too left wing. Could they possibly help us with this?
I don't know. That they'll have a large amount of influence, but then again, the British are quite proud of our politicians. If it's one thing for us to say he's an asshole, but if another country says you've got to take him out of power, people would bristle at the fact that there's another state telling you how to live your life. You know, it's like talking to a teenager and saying, "Pick up your dirty socks off the floor." It's that kind of shit. But I don't understand the mindset and how. I don't know where we go from here. They've pretty much decriminalised shoplifting. You can have people walking into shops and emptying them, right? Emptying them wholesale. Take whatever you like. Please don't even come out. Don't even come out. We'll give you a crime number. That's how bad it's got. Bikes stolen while people watch.
Security guards can't touch them either. You see them on them videos, just stood back.
Yeah. So that society's broken. We've got a madman in Russia. Weak politicians in the West.
Power failing.
Sorry?
Power grid failing.
Yeah. And I don't know where it stops. It's like the big pile of shit and somebody's taking an extra turd on the top to see where it stops.
So if World War III doesn't get us, the power grid will. If the power grid doesn't, starvation will.
It's nice to have a choice, don't you think?
But don't disagree, because we'll lock you up.
And don't say any hurty words on the internet because, you know, whilst your bike's been stolen and somebody's emptying the local corner shop, if you say somebody hurts them in their mangina, then you're getting locked up for a 2-year stretch.
You said mangina. I'm waiting for the knock at your door. I went to Farm Foods today after your video, Mike. Just got a few weeks worth of food for not too much money. Yeah, nice one. It's a little treasure trove. Is Farm Foods. I think we'll call that because we didn't want to be on too late. Darren's just mentioned there. What about that's the wrong one. What about the judge locking up climate protesters who did sod all, but not two rich kids who assaulted someone, caused permanent damage? Tories are scum as judges. There you go. They're all as bad as each other.
Yeah, like you beat me to it, mate. Every politician's a trained liar.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if Starmer was even lying, though, but he's not even lying. He's not telling the truth. He's not lying. He's just giving zero answers. Sorry, he does give an answer. He does give an answer. Who stole that yogurt? £22 million black hole. I've stubbed my toe. £22 million pound black hole. That's the blame for everything.
He needs to kick up his £22 million black hole.
We'll be £22 million black hole when we're nuked.
There's so many pies in the sky here that they're talking about. It's nonsense.
Brian's got a dehydrator. That's the big news, says Lady J. You're going to see some videos, Brian?
Sorry, buddy?
We're going to see some videos.
I put up one tonight about the antibiotics pack.
Yeah, I mean, for your dehydrator.
Not even got it out of the box, mate. I'll tell you how bad it is. It's an impromptu table at the moment for my phone, so I can do this video. My phone's actually leaning on it. I've not even had it out of the box. Technically, it's not my birthday till tomorrow, so I got it a day early just to have a look. So
you're experimenting on dehydrating different things.
I'm going to have a stab at it.
I want to try dehydrated Pepsi.
Sacrilege. Although, actually, my wife got me trays for it that you can dehydrate liquids on it. It's got like little rubber trays that you can put liquids in. And
oh God, if you could dehydrate Pepsi, you'd have barrels of Pepsi dust everywhere.
Mate, the next video I do,
it wouldn't even be for storage. He'll be just doing lines of Pepsi.
That's what I was going to say. I'll be cutting up with a credit card. There'll be Pepsi getting snorted off the back of my hands on YouTube.
Well, there we go.
Oh dear.
Not suitable, this one. We're gonna have a laugh because
absolutely,
yeah, it's just insane, and I don't like doing these random. World War III update, news alert, because they're all over all over YouTube now. But you can be assured, guys, if we come on to do a news update like this unscheduled, it's because there's so much that we just want to get it out to you. I've literally, hand on heart, I've not even monetized this video. I just wanted to get on and put it out to you guys. All right. So it's not about the money. It's not about all that lot. It's just about getting the word out. If it's not newsworthy, we won't bother. So,
because there's a lot of things going on at the moment, and the chap that went out and got extra preps, I'm all for that, but I also don't want to scare people either. And I personally don't think we'll be glowing in the dark before the end of the week, right? And you know what? See if I'm wrong, we'll never know about it anyway. Right? So what's the problem?
The final words as you see the flash through the curtains is, Brian, you bah.
Meanwhile, I'm snorting dried Pepsi.
It's the end. Looking like Scarface.
You cockroaches.
Okay, Putin, you want to play?
Say hello to my little friend.
Right. Yeah, it's a good time to end. Geiger counter for under £12 on eBay. There you go. Top tips. Right.
Bargain.
Thanks for joining me, Ryan.
My pleasure.
It's always good to have you here. Don't forget, guys, go over to Scottish Prepper 73. I will put the link in the description once I actually write a description. That's how quick we got this live. But go over, subscribe to Scottish Prepper 73 and get his numbers up. There's 89 of you in here. I expect at least 80 new subs on his channel. So
thanks, mate.
Would you like to say goodbye to the masses?
Goodbye to the masses. Try not to be scared tonight. Just be aware that there's a lot of shit going on, and you might want to get a few bits and pieces in, or just keep watching the news.
Not the mainstream.
Nah, PB News.
Yeah. Just reiterate that. Like, subscribe, comment, lean on this community, guys. Use the comments as chat all you want. Talk amongst yourselves. Loads of people in the community in the comments have got great advice, better advice than me. So lean on this community. Got any questions, put them in the chat. Somebody will answer if I don't. So that's what it's all about. So other than that, thanks for joining us. And when I eventually find the button, I'll say goodbye. There's the button. Bye.
I don't give a